And in the first example, I'll just remove completed and I'll pass in the name as an empty string. Now I do need to fix this comma here, but you'll see that actually we're successful. So I can create item this way. And what's even more interesting is that I can send an empty object and I'll still be successful. And you have to agree that actually this is not the best setup, correct? So that way we can just set up a bunch of empty items. Now, what can we do about it? Well, we can add the validation to our schema. Now, before we continue though, let me just say that when it comes to validation, since it's a pretty big topic, we'll just be scratching the surface. The plan is to show you more features as we progress with the upcoming projects, since I have a feeling that if we'll spend the next hour or two on just validation, understandably, a lot of you will lose interest and attention. Don't worry though, at the end of the video, I will show you where you can get more info. So at the moment, we have a very minimal setup where we have properties and we just specify the type. However, we can set up our properties as objects, and then we can also set up built-in validators. How is that going to look like? Well, I'll remove the string part from the name, and then I'll set it equal to an object. I'll add a comma, of course, since I need to keep the proper syntax. And in here, the first property we want to set up is type. Now it's still going to be a string, but now, of course, we can add more validators. Now, what validators can we use? For starters, we can go with required. So what this is going to do is if I pass in the value, the object, without my name property, then it's going to spit back big fat error. Now, at the very basic level, you can set up equal to true or false. Either it is required or not. But if you want a custom message, you can actually set it equal to an array, where you go with the first value, again, true or false, and then you add a comma, and then you pass in that custom message. And in my case, I'm going to go with must provide and name. Now, what else I can do? Well, I can trim. So imagine the scenario in a postman. If I go here with name, and if I pass in here spaces and then John, effectively with our current setup, that's exactly how we'll save it in our database. And if I don't want that, I can simply go back where we have the object, and then the property that you're looking for is trim, and we'll set it equal to true. And what's also really nifty that for strings, we can get min values or max values. And in my case, since I don't want my value to be bigger than 20 characters, for the name one, I can go with max, and the property that we're looking for is length. Make sure that you spelled correctly. This is always a doozy for me when it comes to length. And again, we'll set it equal to an array. And I'll say that the value for my string is going to be 20. And then in here, we'll just go with name, cannot be more than, and of course, we'll set it equal to 20 and then characters. And essentially, we're done with basic validators for the name. Because like I already mentioned, I really just want to scratch the surface. So you get the main idea, and then as we're progressing with the project, then of course we'll implement more features.